Hi everyone, welcome back to my A-level biology lecture series. In this lesson, we will explore hemophilia. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the relationship between genes, proteins, and phenotype with respect to the F8 gene, or known as the factor 8 gene, factor 8 protein, and the disease hemophilia. Let's get started. Hemophilia is an inherited bleeding disorder in which the blood does not clot effectively, leading to prolonged bleeding. The symptoms include excessive bleeding after injury, easy bruising, and a high risk of internal hemorrhage. There are two main types of hemophilia. Hemophilia A, where there is a deficiency of clotting factor 8, and hemophilia B, when there is a deficiency of clotting factor 9. So factor 8 and factor 9 functions in the intrinsic pathway of the blood coagulation cascade or blood clotting cascade, which is triggered by the damage inside the blood vessel and activated by the platelet. In this topic, we are going to focus on hemophilia A, which is caused by a mutation in factor 8 gene. However, for hemophilia B, factor 9 gene is mutated. Both factor 8 and factor 9 genes are located on X chromosome. Therefore, factor 8 gene and factor 9 genes both are X-linked genes. So the mutation results in the formations of the recessive allele on the X chromosome. So generally, we denote it as X2, right? Superscript H, and H is the recessive allele. So over 1,200 mutations in the factor 8 gene have been identified. And the most common is an inversion within the F8 gene. Let us look at what is meant by the inversion. If you look at the F8 gene, there are 1 all the way to 25 exons. So due to the inversion, now you can see that exon 1 to 22 are located at one end, and 23 to 26 are located at the another end. So in terms of direction, there is an inversion because under normal condition, this is the direction. But now you can see that due to the inversion, so therefore factor 8 gene is mutated. So other types include large deletions and small insertion or deletion that cause frameshift mutation to occur. So hemophilia is an X-linked recessive disorder. So the male with a defective allele on the X chromosome will always develop the disease. However, female are usually allele carrier where they are in heterozygous condition. So disease expression is rare because they require 2 defective allele for female to develop the disease. Hemophilia or hemophilic's father cannot pass the disease to his son. This is because in the X-linked recessive inheritance, a father passes his Y chromosome, but not the X chromosome to all his sons. So since the recessive allele for hemophilia is located on X chromosome, therefore none of his sons inherit this recessive allele. However, all of his daughters will inherit his recessive allele on the X chromosome and therefore become allele carrier provided that the mother is homozygous dominant. So an allele carrier daughter, which is heterozygous, can pass the recessive allele on the X chromosome to her children. If she passed this recessive allele to a son, the son will have genotypes X with recessive H and Y, and therefore the son will develop hemophilia. So what is the role of factor VIII in clotting? So during tissues injury or the injury of the blood vessel, factor VIII here form a non-covalent complex with von Willebrand's factor for the stability. When activated by thrombin, factor VIII dissociates to act as a cofactor for factor IX, which is an activated factor IX. So together with factor IX, factor VIII, okay, promotes the thrombin formations. Okay, the thrombin formations here. And thrombin converts the fibrinogen into stable fibrins. Okay, so the fibrinogen into the fibrin, and this will form a stable fibrin clot, will form a mesh so that there is no leakage of the red blood cells. However, the role of factor VIII and factor IX in the blood clotting is not in the current syllabus. And with that, we have come to the end of this lesson. Hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you have any question, feel free to drop them in the comment sections. See you in the next lesson. Have a great day.